Okay, so where we left off, we were saying we want to find the top speed of Betty and Bob. One, because it's part A, and two, because we want to know then that'll become their constant speed. So their VF from up there will become their VAV down here. And the total distance is 400 meters. So if we find out how far they traveled up here as they were speeding up, then we can find out how much they have left to do down here, because it'll be 400 meters minus what they traveled up top. So then we'll have the VAV and the delta D, and we'll be able to find the time to figure out who has won. Okay? So first step, find your VF. So you know A equals VF minus VI over delta T. VI goes to 0. So VF is just going to equal A delta T. So for Bob, it's 1 meter per second squared times 6 seconds. So Bob's VF is 6 meters per second. Okay, that's his top speed. For Betty, exactly the same thing. A equals VF minus VI over delta T. The VI goes to 0. So VF equals A delta T. So 0.08 meters per second squared, 10 seconds. Betty's top speed is 8 meters per second. So Bob's is 6, Betty's is 8. Okay? But we also need to know how far did they travel. So delta D is equal to VI delta T, 1/2 A delta T squared. The VI delta T goes to 0, so 1/2 1 meter per second squared times 6 seconds squared. So delta D1 will be equal 6 squared is 36, times 1 is 36, half is 18. So Bob in his speeding up went 18 meters, which means he has 382 meters left to go. Betty, delta D1 is equal to VI delta T, 1/2 A delta T squared, that goes to 0. So 1/2 0.8 meters per second squared times 10 seconds squared. 10 squared is 100, half of 0.8 is 0.4. So 100 times 0.4 is 40 meters, which means Betty has left to go 360 meters. Okay, and so now with that, we can find out how long. So we can figure out who wins. So we know VAV equals delta D over delta T. So delta T is equal to delta D over VAV. This is T2. So delta T2 is equal to, for Bob, the 382 meters he has left, and divided by his 6 meters per second. So for Bob, it takes him, T2 is 63.67 seconds. So Bob's total time will be the two of them added together. So 6 seconds plus 63.63, so 69.67. Sorry, I said 3 there. Okay, so it takes Bob 69.67 seconds to finish the race. For Betty, same equation, delta T2 is equal to delta D2 over VAV. Hers is 360 meters per second, and her VAV was 8 meters per second. So Betty's T3 is 45 seconds. Sorry, T2. And so Betty's total will be the 10 seconds she was speeding up plus the 45 seconds. So her total is 55 seconds. So who wins? Betty. Which shouldn't be a surprise. Full disclosure, gentlemen. If there's a guy and a girl in the race and I made up the question, the female's going to win. Sorry. Unless it's like a race to see who gets thrown off the roof first or something. Then I might let the male win. All right. And the last part of the question, how far behind is the loser when the race is over? So when the race is over, 55 seconds has passed. So Bob still has like 14 0.67 seconds to go, right, if we find the difference. And so we could find how far he needs to travel in that, right? So Bob still has 69.67 seconds minus the 55 seconds to go. So Bob still needs 14.67 seconds to finish the race. So if we take that, and during that time he's in his constant velocity stage, so we could solve for how far does he have to travel in that time. So delta D will equal, his VAV was 6 meters per second times the 14.67 seconds. So he would still have left, what is that, 14.67 times 6. 88.02, I may have rounded there a little. 88.02 meters. So Bob still has 88.02 meters to go. The other way you could have solved it was take this 55 seconds and say, okay, in the first 6 he traveled 18 meters. And then he would have 49 more, so you could find out how far did he travel in the 49, and then add it to the 18 and then take it away from the 400. But I think this way is easier. Okay, so that's number 2. The only other one on the front that you had to do, there's some on the back you had to do, but the only other one on the front was number 4. And number 4 was actually not a 2-part question. So it might have messed you up because you might have been trying to do it in 2 parts and it wasn't, but it should have been easier. So a person is in a hot air balloon ascending, going upward at 12 meters per second. So 12 meters per second up. And drops a package over the side. So if the balloon's going up, so is the package. So that's the VI of both the balloon and the package. Wind is at a height of 80 meters. So delta D, assuming this package is falling, is going to be 80 meters down. Ignore air resistance. A is going to be 9.81 meters per second squared, also down. What is the maximum velocity attained by the package? So in part A, you're looking for VF just before it hits the ground. If you have VI delta D A and you want VF, then I would suggest you use VF squared, say it with me now, VI squared plus 2A delta D. Okay, so VF squared is equal to, the 12 goes in as a positive because it's up, it gets squared, plus 2 times the 9.81 goes in as a negative because it's down, and the 80 goes in as a negative because it's down. Okay, and so multiply them together, take the square root, and you should get 41.38 meters per second, and that's going to be down. Okay, that's part A. Part B says, how long did it take the package to reach the ground? So you could do delta D is equal, so you're looking for P, you're looking for time. So you could do delta D is equal to VI delta T plus 1/2 A delta T squared, but if you do, it'll be a quadratic. So now that you have your VF, I would suggest you do A is equal to VF minus VI over delta T. So delta T is equal to VF minus VI over A. Now you have to be really careful about positives and negatives here. VF is down, so it goes in as a negative 41.38 meters per second, minus VI is up, so it's minus a positive 12. And A is down, so it's negative 9.81 meters per second squared. Okay, so make sure you get all your signs right. And if you do, then you should get, because on the top that's going to be 53.38 negative, and the negative will cancel, and you should get 5.443 seconds. Okay, so now we have the backside to take a look at. The video is going to end in a second, so I will do the backside on a separate page, or a separate video. Okay?